Good Tuesday morning. How is everybody doing today? I'm Jenny Gallagher with Joyful Heart Healthcare and Keto Nurses, and we're going to talk about cholesterol today. So grab your coffee. Mine's here. Your tea, your water, whatever you're sipping on this morning to get you up and going. And we're going to talk about some cholesterol. I've had boatloads of questions about it recently. The video I have on my page is a couple years old, so I thought we'd cover cholesterol today. This is going to be a short version, the skinny version, if you will, about cholesterols and fat. We'll give everybody a minute or two to get their notification that we're live, and then we'll get started. Feel free to hit that share button that's down there at the bottom of your screen. So it shows up on your page. You can share it in a messenger with someone. You can share it in a text if they have Facebook access. But you can share the link lots of different ways. So you can do that. Debbie Brown, good morning. I missed the reunion, but the pictures looked amazing. Good morning, Betty. Good morning, Gina. Yep, people are signing in, so we'll give everybody a minute. But we're going to talk about cholesterol today. So if you want to grab your notepad and pen, that might be somewhat beneficial. So, yeah, we're going to talk about cholesterol. Good morning, Kimberly. So, good morning, good morning. Numbers are going up. So glad to see y'all this morning. I hope the weather is great where you are. It is 59 and sunny right now here in the Omaha area. It was beautiful over the weekend. We did take our new to us, very old RV out for a trial run over the weekend. We learned a lot. We forgot some things, but we had a blast chilling and relaxing, and we were absolutely lazy and sorry. We didn't do a thing. I submitted one blog article to a company that I write for on occasion. That's all I did. It took me like 20 minutes. So, we were lazy. We thoroughly enjoyed the sounds and the shade and the sun. We saw all kinds of birds. It was really fun. I don't get to be that sorry very often. So it was a nice change of pace to enjoy some time away and quiet relaxation. I have a question for y'all while we're continuing to wait. Numbers aren't going up very fast today. I have a question for y'all. How many of you glue your shoes back together? I know, it's kind of a silly question, but I glued a pair back together. It's a pair of sandals that I really love to wear. And when I should have taken a picture because I used like the chip clips, the little kitchen gadgets that you close bags with and stuff. I used several of those to hold it back together. It was the toe part that was coming apart from the sole. And so I glued it back together with some super glue, Gorilla Glue stuff, and used the chip clips to hold it tight. And it worked great. And so I just wondered how many of y'all glue your shoes back together. They're a favorite pair. Don't ask me what brand they are. I have no idea. Oh, they're Clark's. I bought them probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, but they're kind of a somewhat dressy sandal, so I wear them all the time. Love them. They're so comfortable. They have a little bit of an arch, which I have to have in my shoe. So just a little offbeat information. I'm glad, Kimberly, I'm not the only one that glues my shoes back together. Everybody else probably fainted when I asked. So anyway, we're going to talk cholesterol. So number one. The first fact you have to understand about cholesterol is your body needs it. Okay? It is not a bad chemical. Your liver produces 80 to 90% of the cholesterol your body needs, regardless of the food you eat. Did you hear that? Your liver produces cholesterol regardless of the food you eat for body needs. So why do we want to reduce that? Like, why do we want to lower? Don't know what happened there, but we lost y'all for a second, but we're back. But why on earth do medical professionals not understand that cholesterol is made by the liver, 80 to 90% of it, regardless of the food we consume? Your body makes all that cholesterol. Only about 15% of it is made in response to food. Think about that for a minute. Think about those statistics. Your body, your liver is producing cholesterol 24/7 in response to body needs. What are those body needs? Well, cholesterol is used for the cell membrane. Every single cell of your body has what we call a phospholipid bilayer. Some of you may remember biology from a while back. If not, you can Google it or look it up in an old biology book or online. But the phospholipid bilayer, lipid is cholesterol. That's fatty molecule components that come together to form the cell membrane. How do your cells stay together? Cholesterol. Why do we want to reduce that then? Like, let's be logical. Let's chase the function of the body and figure out, why on earth would anyone want to lower cholesterol? There's no logical explanation. There really isn't. So if you remember, if you look up old stories, old history, old articles about why we think cholesterol is a health problem, you will find several pieces of information. One is the 7-country study. It was actually 22 countries. They cherry-picked the data and only published data about 7 countries because it fit their narrative that says fats are the health problem. The other 15 studies did not fit that data paradigm. Therefore, they excluded that data. They just said, oh, this doesn't work for us, so we're going to exclude it. These 7 countries fit what we want to prove, so we're going to publish this. It's been debunked for decades. That was back in the 50s, 60s. And so that was debunked decades ago, okay? Fats are not unhealthy, okay? Even the ADA and the American Heart Association about 5 or 10 years ago said fats are not unhealthy. However, they didn't push that information out very well. They published an article, it showed up in a news segment here or there, and that was it. They were done with it because Big Pharma and Big Food produce massive sales from products that fit the old narrative. And they are the ones with the big bucks. People like me, people like other, I don't know what's wrong with the Facebook Live this morning, but we're back. But people that teach low carbing, grain-free eating, keto eating, high protein diet eating, these kinds of people and experts that are out here, we all understand the science. We've read it, we've studied it, we've gone back and pulled the articles up, and that's where we base our information. Okay? But if you don't look for that information, you will not find it. And when you do searches on some search engines now, because ads are paid for by companies with big money, those of us looking for truth can't find it because it's way, way, way down the list in the millions of hits that the search engine provides. So you have to do some really serious word games in your search engines to find the data. The easiest thing to do is to buy some of the books that I often publish information about. The Art and Science of Low Carb Living, Eat Rich, Live Long, understanding the heart. There's graphics on my Facebook page. I post all the time about some of these books. These authors have taken the time to bring that data into their books, and they explain it in great detail. So if you want real details and real research, go find one of these books. Eat Rich, Live Long is my favorite by far. It has the absolute best descriptions of chemistry, and it is easy to read. So that is a really great book for the layperson. If you're a healthcare professional, The Art and Science of Low Carb Living is great, but it is more sciencey. So you could use both of those books for sure. But cholesterol is required for cell membranes. So what are cell membranes doing? Well, let's look at your skin. So how long does it take for this top layer of skin to come to the top? When it is being made as a basal layer way underneath here, how long does it take for that base cell layer to get to the top? Does anybody know? Anybody know how long it takes for a skin cell from birth to skin, where you can touch it, how long it takes to get there? Anybody want to guess? Some of you have been taught this because you did Mary Kay or Avon, you did Airbond, you did some sort of skin care sales back in the day. Gina says 90. It's nowhere near that long, but good guess. Anybody else want to guess? Your skin will actually turn over 3 times in that 90 days. It only takes about 28 days, give or take. 25 to 28 days. So in a month, your skin is going to use boatloads of cholesterol to make new skin layers. Okay? And that's just one organ. What about your hair? You want to know why you lose hair? Think about your cholesterol levels. Are you taking medicine to lower cholesterol that's impairing cellular growth? Okay? Got to think about that. Cholesterol is also used for neurotransmitter communication, for brain function. Lots of things in the brain require cholesterol. It's one of the reasons, think back to when you had your babies, if you're a mom or a dad, and the nutritionist or the nurse educator, somebody told you when you wean your baby off of formula or breast milk, make sure you go to full fat milk. Use whole milk only till they're older than 2 or 3 years old. Remember that advice? Guess why they told you that? Because of the fats their brains actually require. The cholesterol that's in the milk helps our children's brains develop appropriately. Okay? So, why do we need cholesterol? Because the body uses it for massive numbers of things. Lots of functions require cholesterol. What about your hormones? Do you like the way your estrogen and testosterone work? Do you like the way your cortisol works for you? When you get stressed, your body releases cortisol to help you manage your stress. And then when you calm down, that cholesterol level goes down. Cholesterol is part of our waking and getting going system. If your cholesterol isn't going up in the morning, it can be a struggle to get up, wake up, get going with your day. Cholesterol makes cortisol. Cholesterol makes all of your hormones, estrogen, DHEA, progesterone, DHT, androsterone. It makes all of these hormones. Why do we want to cut cholesterol out? This doesn't make any logical sense, y'all. The body makes our hormones from cholesterol. We don't want to reduce cholesterol. So why does everybody say we do? Because, another historical piece of information, back in the 70s, 60s and 70s, when we found out about cholesterol, pathology was done to study the plaques found in heart attack and stroke patients. Plaque buildup in heart arteries specifically was found to contain cholesterol. So they blamed cholesterol for the problem, but it wasn't the problem, it was the Band-Aid. Cholesterol is part of our healing and tissue repair mechanism. When there's a problem in your artery, if there is inflammation that gets stuck in an arterial wall, you've got this smooth tube, and then suddenly there's this little snag because high carb intake has created lots of inflammation markers, and now all of those inflammation markers and oxidative species are running through your blood vessels, wreaking havoc. It's sort of like rust inside your pipes. So if you have rusted pipes, what's happening inside the artery? Inside the pipe, when you have rust, you're getting pits, you're getting different levels of rust occurring in different places. And so that creates a rough edge. Your arteries develop those rough edges too when there's a lot of inflammation moving around. Cholesterol comes along and says, hey, this pit does not belong here. I'm going to Band-Aid over this. I'm going to seal this up so it's not so spiky and so inflamed. I'm going to Band-Aid over this, and I'm going to calm this down. And so that's when we wind up seeing the buildup of plaque. The cholesterol isn't the problem. It's part of the fix. Okay? So this is what it's really important for every single person on the earth to understand about cholesterol. It is not meant to harm us. God did not create our bodies to produce 80% of the cholesterol we need for us not to need it or for it to kill us. Let's be logical. Like, logic is what I'm all about. Logic is what I'm all about. Why would the body be able to produce most of our cholesterol regardless of the food we eat? Because we need it. We need it for a wide variety of functions. All of our hormones start out as cholesterol and vitamin D. If your vitamin D is low, you're not going to produce quality hormone ingredients. If your cholesterol is low, you are not going to produce quality hormone levels. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with the internet this morning. It's not ours. Our internet is on. I think it's just Facebook. But again, cholesterol is also important for making bile salts. How do you digest fats and proteins? Bile salts. Your gallbladder holds these enzymes and bile salts at the ready for you to have whenever you eat meat and fat. So as soon as you start eating meat and fat and that hits your stomach, the gallbladder says, oh, here, let me spit out some of these enzymes and bile salts made of cholesterol to help you digest. You worry about stomach acid and poor digestion? Check your cholesterol. If it's low, or if it's high and you don't know why it's high, you should figure that out. Because if the cholesterol is high, there's a reason. Cholesterol is not the problem. It's trying to fix the problem. Does that help y'all understand cholesterol a little bit better? Any questions about cholesterol? Any other questions about cholesterol? Number one, it's a building block of cells and tissues because it's required for the phospholipid bilayer around the cell membrane. It's produced in the liver by your body regardless of the food you consume. And it makes all of your hormones and participates in various other neurotransmitter, brain functions, body functions, system-wide, like every single part of us. Even Alzheimer's patients have been found to have worsening dementia when their cholesterol is low. Cognitive decline occurs when cholesterol is low. There's several studies that show that. You can Google cognitive decline cholesterol and you'll find them. You can look up all of this stuff. I don't make up any of it. Okay? It's all based on science. So those main things that cholesterol does are helpful and necessary, completely essential to good health. So we're back to the number one question. Why would we want to reduce it? Debbie says, what numbers are true high cholesterol? I don't even give that any attention. The numbers we have today that are regarded as high have been lowered 2 or 3 times over the past 20 years. There is no such thing, Lisa, as good or bad. HDL and LDL are nothing but transporters. They are trucks. There is no such thing as good or bad cholesterol. None. Debbie, yeah, so not what we were told. If you go back and if you can find anything, cholesterol numbers have significantly dropped in the past 20 or 30 years. They've been lowered several times. Why? Because these committees get together made up of volunteers from the industry. Who is the industry? Big pharma, big food, government agencies, various organizations like the ADA, AHA, all of these people get together and they say, oh, well, we're seeing more data about heart attacks, so maybe we should lower the LDL limits. And so they do. But if you look up the data, even people with normal low LDL have heart attacks and strokes at the same rate as people with high LDL. So you can't trust the LDL. If you want to know what your heart shape is, get a coronary artery calcium scan, period. Way better information. Holly says, can triglycerides be too low? Not really. Triglycerides are the most troublesome of your LDL, of your lipid panel, not the LDL. So triglycerides are made from carbs we overconsume, knitted together in the liver because the carbs break down to glucose. The glucose has nowhere else to go. The body is trying to clear the bloodstream of the glucose that's too high, and the triglycerides are one of the ways it moves glucose out of that bloodstream. So triglycerides are harmful. You want your triglyceride level less than 100. Sandy said, oh, Sandy, that's the normal mainstream thought. Of course. But you need to figure out why it runs high. The why is the important thing here. Why is it running high? Search it out, find the inflammation, fix the inflammation, and then the cholesterol will go down. It's simple. Diane, yes, we all have family members like that, unfortunately. Holly says my triglycerides stay around 35 to 45. Then you're not overeating carbs, or your body is able to manage them otherwise. So there's 3 main mechanisms, Holly, for moving glucose out of the bloodstream. The triglycerides are the last process. So number 1 is high glucose triggers insulin from the pancreas. Pancreas spits out insulin, and so the glucose comes down. Then there's no carbs, no glucose left to make much triglyceride. So that's the first thing. The second thing that happens is the liver stores some of that glucose as glycogen. That's sort of like a reserve gas tank. And so the third process is triggered when those 2 processes are not enough to lower glucose. The thing is, Holly, younger people that are more active, our teenagers, our young adults that are exercising and staying very active, they usually have healthy insulin levels, and that's what drives that triglyceride level down. So triglycerides that are low are no problem. It's when they get high that they become a problem. I hope that helps. Any other questions? We talked longer than I intended to. I wanted this to be real short. But I want you to really ponder about cholesterol being absolutely needful and essential for good health. Okay? If you want to look up side effects of any medication, rxlist.com is a great resource. Oh, I don't know what's wrong this morning. rxlist.com is a great resource to look up drugs side effects online. Drugs.com is another resource. So look up side effects before you take any medication and know exactly how it's going to work. There should be an action section when you look up your medicine, and a side effect section. So you need to know exactly how it's going to work, what it's going to do, and you need to know side effects so that if you have those side effects, you can alert your prescriber. So good job, Holly. Good job. All right. Any other questions this morning about cholesterol? All right. I don't see anything popping up here. And I think I've addressed everything that I saw. So I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all have a great day, a great warm, sunny week, I hope, where you are. And I will see y'all next Tuesday. Jenny Gallagher with Joyful Heart Healthcare. Bye, y'all.